Hey everyone! One of my favorite things to do in Magic the Gathering is talk about some of the crazy things that you can do, especially when you're talking about legacy cards and vintage cards and how far back you can go. There is a turn 0 win combo, which is fantastic that it exists. What it entails is starting off with kind of a funky mana base. We're going to have Gemstone Cavern. Gemstone Cavern says, if Gemstone Cavern is in your opening hand and you are not playing first, you may begin the game with Gemstone Cavern in play with a luck counter on it. If you do, remove a card from your remove a card in your hand from the game. So you're starting off just discarding a card. The important thing here is that, so turn 0, in response to the game starting, you get to put a land into play. That land now taps to add 1 colorless to your mana pool. If Gemstone Cavern has a luck counter on it, instead add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So you get to start the game with a land that produces 1 mana of any color. We also have a couple mana creatures, which is an odd thing to say because one you might have heard of, Simian Spirit Guide. Remove Simian Spirit Guide in your hand from the game. Add 1 red mana to your mana pool. So basically, if it's in your hand, you can exile it to gain red mana. This is also true with Elvish Spirit Guide. Exile Elvish Spirit Guide from your hand, add 1 green mana to your mana pool. So again, it's exile a card from your hand, you get a one-time use mana. So basically at the beginning of the game, in response to the game starting, we're starting off with 2 mana. What can we do with 2 mana? There's a card called Flash. Put a creature card from your hand into play. You may pay its mana cost reduced by up to 2. If you don't, sacrifice it. So we can flash something in. Unfortunately, it's going to die. Is there some way we can take advantage of that? Of course there is. That's going to be Protean Hulk. When Protean Hulk is put into a graveyard from play, search your library for a number of creature cards with total converted mana cost 6 or less and put them into play, then shuffle your library. A lot of stuff going on, but what do we take advantage of that? Flash puts it into play, and then you immediately sacrifice it because you're only paying 2. We only have 2 mana. This is turn 0. This is before your opponents start the game. So this is in response to the game starting. We have already played a 6/6 creature. Now we're going to sacrifice it because Flash says that you have to sacrifice it if you don't pay its mana cost. And so what we're going to do is Protean Hulk says you can search your library for converted mana cost, any number of creature cards with converted mana cost 6 or less. So we have a few cards that we're going to look for. We have Phyrexian Marauder. We have, where is it? Shifting Wall, and there's another alternate is Endless One. I'll talk more about that in just a second. But if you'll notice, there's something that all 3 of these have in common. They are all have an X as their casting cost, and then they're all 0/0 creatures. So what that means is as soon as you cast them, they will instantly die. Again, lots going on. How do we take advantage of a ton of creatures dying? So in kind of the standard build of this deck, what you'll do is you'll do the 2 artifacts, which is the Shifting Wall and the Phyrexian Marauder, which are both 0/0x creature, 0/0/4x creatures, and they're artifacts. Now that's important because there is a creature called Disciple of the Vault. This is a 1/1 for 1 black. Whenever an artifact is put into a graveyard from play, you may have target opponent lose 1 life. So, if we can remember the whole train here, basically, Protean Hulk dies. You can get a number of any number of creatures with converted mana cost 6 or less. So we're going to grab 4 Disciples of the Vault, put those into play. We're also going to grab 4 Phyrexian Marauders and 4 Shifting Walls. All of these come into play. All 8 artifacts die instantly because they're 0/0s. 8 things die. The Disciples of the Vault trigger. We have 4 Disciples of the Vaults triggering 8 times. So 4 times 8, we're going to do 36 damage to our opponent. in response to the game starting. That's a lot of fun, right? There's a few things that can happen. I mean, obviously they can counter Flash. They can with Force of Will. I mean, we have to also have a certain. We have to have certain cards in our hand that's unlikely. There's some ways to make this a little bit more reliable, but honestly, I just feel like it's unreliable because of the number of cards we need in our opening hand in order to get this trick to work. It is a lot of fun though. The reason I'm talking about it today is we are in spoiler season, and this morning when I woke up, I saw these two cards in the spoiler for Masters 25, which is why I titled this video what I titled it. We have Protean Hulk and Flash in our spoiler. So if we get the Gemstone Cavern this is still early on, but if we get the Gemstone Cavern, then that's going to let us do some more. If we get any of the X cost spells, 0/0 for X, there's 3 of them, then we're going to be able to do some fun stuff. Now, quickly, while we're on the subject, Endless One. So this Endless One's another alternate. Endless One enters the battlefield with X/1/1 counters on it. I really like this one because the other two have downsides where you either can't attack, or it's very hard to attack with them. Endless One's easy to attack with, so maybe it's a backup plan in worst case scenarios. I like that. And then there's a couple other cards. So we would be switching out Disciple of the Vault for either Blood Artist, which is one of my all-time favorite cards, or Zulaport Cutthroat, which also does the same thing. And again, these are very low CMC creatures. They're both 2-drops. Actually, I'm gonna pull up. I gotta pull up Blood Artist real quick. Blood Artist is, it's a 2-drop as well. Both of those are 2-drops, so that means instead of getting 4, we're getting 3, but we're still going to be able to drop 8 0/0 creatures for X. So 3 times 8 is still going to be 24 damage straight to their face. And with either the Blood Artist or the Zulaport Cutthroat, you're gaining life, so you're going to gain 24 life, which is something I also appreciate if they have some kind of offsetting trick that's going to jump out. I don't think, again, this is all based on the meta, so maybe the other is a little bit more reliable because these are cheaper cards, maybe? I don't know. So that's something to think about. I just had to talk about it because Protean Hulk and Flash are going to be in Masters 25. They are both rares, so I don't know if we'll actually see them both. It's just super fascinating. Anyway, I had fun reading this morning. Is there any cards that you're super excited about for Masters 25? Let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.